Greetings and salutations, Josh. How are you doing on this beautiful Thursday night as we are a week from the
Yeah.
3 days of the entire year, the NFL draft? How are you doing on today?
Fantastic, dude. I'm ready. I am so pumped for this draft. And that's saying something because both of our teams don't even have a first round pick as of right now. But no, I'm so ready for this draft.
I've been ready, man. I've been ready since, we got bounced out of the playoffs. To
Yeah.
come in here and kind of run through a little mock draft, one more mock draft before it actually starts. We got some legends on the back of the screen, kind of some draft reminders. I think two completely different themes.
No,
Caberwick
for
on one
sure.
side, Big Laramie on the other, man.
Yeah, one first
Trenches.
round pick and one undrafted Canadian football player, actually.
Yeah, one guy who got caught with a gas mask and some not so good stuff, but still a fantastic football player. Draft slides, man. Sometimes good players fall, and
And
I think you could possibly see that in this draft as almost every other draft. But yeah,
no, for sure. And hey, both two legends for the Dolphins. So
Shroom, that's Shroom. Yeah. But anyways, enough with the small talk, man. We got a busy day. We got a lot of picking to do. We're going to determine these teams' franchises because, as everyone knows, that every single general manager will look at this and say, this is what we need to do going forward and in the
yeah, I
future.
mean this is our resume right here. So
This is
we gotta
make or
lock it.
break, but I think we're running a 2-round mock draft.
Yep.
First one, 0 trades, but I think we'll walk through some hypotheticals as we go through this because, as probably all you guys know, that the trade rumors are really, really heating up for this draft. It could be one where there is a ton of movement across the board. And so, there are a lot of completely different fits. We don't know what to expect. It's just like playing slots. So
Yeah,
we'll see
and
how it goes.
yeah, and especially with this year with the first round reducing the time in between picks, we might see, more trades of general managers getting kind of antsy with less time, or we might see less trades with, maybe not enough time to think some of these trades through. So a lot can happen. But James, I'm throwing a little curveball at you. You ready?
What?
We're changing this draft a little bit. Instead of both of us having our own separate drafts, we're combining. And James, we are doing this every other pick. So
God, man.
I will,
No.
I will give you the option. Do you want to do the evens? So 1, 2, or 1, 3, 5, and so on, or you want to do the odds?
You
Wait,
completely mixed those up. Said
my dyslexia kicked in. You know
I
what I
have
mean?
a feeling that I do want to do the evens, the
You want
2,
to do the
4,
evens? All right.
6. I feel like I got some good ones for that. You're throwing me on the spot, so I got to kind of use my EBK, if you know it, the elite ball knowledge to kind
Mhm.
of walk through this. But I guess without further ado, if we got nothing else going on,
Yeah.
let's get right into this bad boy because we got a lot of picks to talk about.
So 100%. So I have the odds 1, 3, 5, 7, so on, so
The
on.
hardest pick in the draft. Where do you go
Number
with this
one
one?
overall, the Las Vegas Raiders. They got their quarterback of the future in Kirk Cousins. So in this first pick, I'm just kidding. I'm going with Mr. Fernando Mendoza. About 6'4", prototypical size, number one quarterback, national championship. Think he can bring a winning culture over from Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, it's been one of the easiest picks this entire I mean, there's no other way of doing it. Even though you're paying Kirk Cousins $180 million,
Ooh.
you're still putting him in the reins. Now this is where things get dicey, and this is where
A
I'm gonna
little
make
bit.
my first move. So I remember last week you said it was a lock for
Mm,
Arnell Reese to go in this spot. I don't think that's the case anymore.
okay.
I think from everything going on around the league, I think if the Jets are staying here, this is David Bailey. This is David
Okay.
Bailey. I'm taking David Bailey here. This is what I'm thinking is going to happen. Would this be necessarily my pick? Probably not. But the Jets, I think they want someone who is just a proven pass rusher guy. And you may argue, oh yeah, you bring in Joseph Asai, you have Will McDonald, but Will McDonald is, probably going to seek an extension for the future. Teams are running multiple pass rushers across the board. I just think David Bailey, his elite get off, his athleticism, his pass rushing ability is going to be able to is what the Jets need. They are looking for immediate success. David Bailey, Arvell Reese has a lot of talent, but his pass rushing finesse is not as 100% there as David Bailey is. I think this is a Glenn pick. I think you bring in Tavondre Sweat to stop the run, and you bring in David Bailey to stop the pass, and you finally complete that defensive line into a young, formidable group.
Yeah. I mean, man, there's so much talk right now between these edge rushers potentially going second. I think as long as you do go edge, I don't see how you can be unhappy as a Jets fan. Biggest thing with David Bailey is that run stopping ability. If he can really play, isn't just a third down, rusher, as well as he's had some issues with his bend. He's very
Yes, yeah.
explosive, but a little stiff in the hips. So, and a little bit of the has some character issues after the play a few times throughout his career. But with all that being said, come in and immediately be a impact player.
Yeah, it's a very divisive pick, but I have a feeling if the Jets are
Yeah.
Jets stick here, this is what's going to happen.
So pick number 3, Arizona Cardinals. Again, a little bit of a change. Arvell Reese is still on the board. Now, do they potentially go edge linebacker? 100%. I can see it. Do they still potentially go Francis Muiaga at right tackle?
Yeah.
I can see
Ooh,
it. So it's
Josh.
definitely interesting. I do think with how the board sets up and you have a player with that much potential of Arvell Reese to come in and immediately be the opposite side of Josh Sweat, play kind of a little bit of what they have in Zaven Collins. A little bit, you have the mold, you have the mentor already there. I don't see why you don't go with Arvell Reese here. Maybe wait
Yeah, the
another year
next
for a quarterback.
maybe the next Isaiah Simmons, man. You could
Uh,
trust
you
him.
know, exactly. So there's a lot of potential, but you have time for someone like Arvell Reese to develop before you're ready to compete for playoffs. So going
I
Arvell
mean,
Reese,
really,
pick 3.
yeah. I mean, they're looking for the best available player, and I think again, this is where the draft changes. And as I talked about the week before, is I really think I think Arvell Reese would be
Hmm.
a slam dunk pick, but I think what they need to do is move back in the draft and invest in as much capital as they
No,
possibly
for
can
sure.
because they have so many other holes. They basically have one pick in each round. And you look at all these other rebuilding teams and how many picks that they have acquiring these draft capitals. And you could see there are possibly a ton of other teams that could try to come up to get one of these guys. But I mean, if Arizona's on the board, staying there, it's an art. I do agree with you.
No, for sure. I mean, they could very well do something what the Miami Dolphins are doing right now with getting so many picks, throughout that day 2, second, and third round.
All right, number 4, Tennessee. Like again, another team that could possibly trade back in
Hmm.
this draft. Man, I've mocked this so much in my thoughts and predictions that I really just can't go any other way in my personal opinion. It's very hard. I mean, it's hard. This is a hard one. This is a really hard one because I think Tennessee could go a lot of different ways,
Yeah.
I don't think they're necessarily a Ruben Bain team at this point, but a question to me is Sonny Styles or Jeremiah Love. I think,
Mm,
the Cedric Gray was great last year, but other than that, really not that much. Jeremiah Love, obviously an explosive player, but I think I'm gonna go a little different here. I'm gonna go with Sonny Styles. I'm gonna take Sonny Styles here at number 4. I just think this is a Robert Saleh led team. If they're in this position, what is one of the most, or I mean, man, this is tough, but I just think the player that he is, the potential that he has to be the anchor of that defense. They've invested a lot on that defensive line. They've invested a lot in that secondary. The one position they haven't invested in a lot is that linebacker position. And I do like Cedric Gray as, a guy you can bring in for the future. But also, I just think Sonny Styles is a perfect fit for kind of being that all over the place gadget player for a guy like Robert Saleh. Be your Fred Warner for the
mhm.
future. I know that he likes to draft linebackers in the back half of the rounds, but I just think the way the board falls in this position, you get a premium linebacker in this class who can just do so much, and you finally are able to complete that defense.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think the potential is there, and he doesn't necessarily have to start day 1. They have Cody Barton, Drake Gray, James Williams is kind of that same body type of Sony Styles,
Uh-huh.
linebacker safety from Miami 2 years ago. So it's another situation where they kind of have a guy that has that kind of potential, and so you just gain upgraded what you already have, and I don't think you can go wrong there.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's a hard pick
No,
because I
for
could see
sure.
Jeremiah Love in this position, but I don't know if they draft a running back that high.
Hmm.
And they haven't made any necessarily moves with Pollard or Tajay Spears that
Tajay
makes me want to
Spears.
think
Yeah,
that they're going to go off of him.
yeah. Pick number 5, New York Giants. There's been some talk of potentially Jeremiah Love.
I've
They
seen
like him
that.
a lot.
Yeah.
I can see a situation when they run a two back system with him and Scat, especially with Scat coming back from that leg injury. Honestly, though, if I'm looking at this board, I see one player in particular that's
Yeah.
left that fits in such an incredible spot for him. Their back half, they put in a lot of people. Javon Holland was a big free agent signing 2 years ago. They put a second round pick in Tyler Nubin. They lost Dane Belton. But honestly, Downs, it might say safety, but he is a true athlete in that back end, and they need as much secondary help as possible. So pick 5, New York Giants, going with Caleb Downs, safety, Ohio State.
Three back to back to back Ohio State players in
Yeah.
a row going off the board and for good reason too. Yeah, I've seen a lot of this where there are reports of the Cowboys and the Giants kind of fighting for a
Hmm.
particular guy, and it seems like one of those guys is Caleb Downs specifically. Yeah, that's a slam dunk pick. I mean, you take the best available players off the board. But the Browns now at number 6. This is again it's a stunner to me. I'm gonna go Caden Proctor here. This is Caden
Okay.
Proctor, number 6. The Cleveland Browns absolutely love him. I know they do. I think they love him more than Monroe Freeling. I think Caden Proctor is going to go a lot higher than people actually think he is, partly due to his intangibles, being such a freak athlete. It was when he lost the weight, he was an amazing player. Being able to lose that weight makes you an immediate fit for tackle. And what's the one place Cleveland needs is they need left tackle. They are going to prioritize their offensive line. I know this class is primarily a lot of right tackles and interior offensive linemen, but Caden Proctor has the size. When he loses the weight, he has the mobility to play that offensive tackle. Now, again, I could really see the possibility of Cleveland moving back in the draft for a team to come up and get a premium defensive player and then maybe say, hey, listen, we feel that Caden Proctor could fall a little bit because a lot of these teams don't really need offensive tackle as much as we do and come in and grab Caden Proctor. But I think in this position, they nab their offensive lineman early and they get their left tackle, hopefully, for the future.
Yeah, and this is a guy that was being picked, early, potentially top 5, beginning of this draft cycle. So it's not
Mhm.
like this is out of, realm of possibility of, especially with the offensive line. If a team really falls in love with a player, I don't see why they wouldn't want to go and grab him.
Yeah, certainly an interesting draft board so far.
Yeah. Pick 7, Washington Commanders. I think this one's pretty simple. I think this is Jeremiah Love. If he falls here
Yeah.
to pick 7, I think this is a home run pick. They have some holes on their team. Edge, they spend a lot of money. Clavon Chason, Oda Wafe. So I think Jeremiah Love here is a slam dunk pick to put some pressure off of Jane Daniels.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're running to the podium if they are able to grab this
Yeah.
one. Um, Number 8. This is hard. I think the Saints can go a lot of different ways, but I think, in my opinion, with this pick, you have issues on the defense, but I think you're really gonna try to prioritize this offense, and try to prioritize Tyler Shuck and how he is able to play in his second year. And I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the guy. I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna go Carnell Tate. I
All
think
right.
again, you get another Ohio State receiver next to Chris Olave. You have that connection. Carnell Tate is not necessarily the most athletic, but he is just really the most pro ready wide receiver. A lot of people are saying Jordan Tyson. I think Makai Lemon is a hard second to this. I honestly might like to see it a little bit more because he's able to play that slot. But again, I think Shuck is, Carnell Tate is a ready-made guy. And for a young quarterback, that is extremely, extremely important. He's a fluid route runner. He's got great hands. Athleticism isn't the most 100% thing, but I don't think the Saints really care about that as much as some other teams with freakishly athletic playmakers. I just think they're going to want consistency and a reliable weapon. And I think that's what Cardinal Tate will bring to the table alongside Chris Olave.
Yeah, I think Saints fans are going to love to hear this. Me, Cardinal Tate reminds me of Michael Thomas. A little bit of a bigger receiver, great hands, great route runner, not necessarily a burner, but will get that extra effort on, once they have the ball in their hands. So I love
Yep.
that pairing. Pick number 9, the Chiefs. I think they can go a lot of different ways here. Offensive line, they have a little hole at right tackle, secondary for sure. But I think if you're looking at this board, I don't see why you don't do Ruben Bain. Add some
Yeah.
more pressure to that D line. Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, but why not add another dog on that D line with Ruben Bain here? Best player available, fit right to that Spags, defensive scheme.
Yeah, again, I think I've seen this a lot too, and I think it kind of is the Ruben Bain, almost his floor per se. I'd be surprised if he goes lower because I think any team that he goes lower to is immediately going to grab him up. Arm length, whatever, but this guy can play. This guy is physical. Interesting to see how that legal issues kind of play out
Yeah.
with certain things. It could mean he could drop a little bit. But yeah, the Chiefs are really into just bringing in constant pass rushers. And yeah, I mean, this board filled perfectly because
Hmm.
Cleveland or Cincinnati's up next, and the best corner prospect is available in this position, and that's Mansour Delane, and he is going to be a Cincinnati Bengal.
That's
Yeah,
perfect.
it fits perfect. It fits perfect. Best player available on defense. You have DJ Turner. You have Daxton Hill, who will play the slot. And then you get another guy on the outside that is Mansour Delane. It gives you also some flexibility in case one of those guys wants to walk in free agency in the future. But you have one of the best young corner trios in the league. One of the best corner trios you have probably had in a very, very long time. I think this is a perfect pick for Cincinnati.
Yeah. It's interesting. We have gone 10 picks without a offensive lineman.
No,
Now,
that's not true.
or I'm sorry, Gaten Proctor at 6.
Caden
But I
Proctor, yep.
think I think that kind of goes to show that there's not a top offensive lineman. I mean, Francis Maliogo is really good. They had to put in, you got to really think about his position. Only really a starter right tackle, and right tackle is important, but left tackle is what makes you money. Is what really keeps your offensive line in check.
Yeah, I think the other thing is a lot of these offensive linemen are kind of tweeners.
100%.
They're not big. I really think of a couple of guys that are tackles is Blake Miller, Proctor, and
Hmm.
Monroe Freeling. And then like Maui Noah, Spencer Fano. These guys could be really good if they were probably a little bit bigger in size and being your prototypical tackles. But I mean, we're seeing Maui Noah possibly play guard. We're seeing Spencer Fano possibly be a center in the league.
Yeah,
So that's another issue too, is that so with some of these guys, you really don't 100% know what position they're going to play.
100%. I think everybody, not even just like the normal fans, but I think everyone kind of saw that with, somebody like Will Campbell with his arm length in the Super Bowl. Yes, he was injured. Yes, he played well over the season, but in the biggest game, his biggest flaws showed up on tape. So,
Yeah.
but with all that being said, pick 11, Miami Dolphins here. They can go just about every position, but I think one player that keeps on coming to mind to me is someone like Makai Lemon.
Oof, this would be
It's a little
fun.
bit different, but to me, receivers such a huge need for them. I mean, it's Tutu Atwell, it's Jen Tolbert, and Malik Washington. It's their starting 3 receivers. So why not go and get the guy that has the best hands in the class, incredible route runner, one of the best after catch players you've seen, at least I've seen in a while. Plus, I love doing comps. He reminds me of Jarvis Landry, 100% Miami Dolphin
Mm.
legend. So get your quarterback, that's Malik Willis, or potentially a replacement in the near future, a true wide receiver 1 weapon.
Rams fans are furious right now, but I love this pick. You want to maximize Malik Willis's window. You let Jalen Waddle go. Why not get the best receiver available? Arguably the best receiver in this class. Cowboys, the board did not fall the way they wanted
Yeah.
to. Do you mind go to the defense for me?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, this is a really hard one, I think. Whew. There are a lot of good players they could go with in this position. But they have 12 and they have 20. Kind of what I'm thinking, I think in this position is this is hard. This is a hard one. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I'm trying to be
Yeah.
completely honest. This is very hard for me. You know, I think, oh, geez. Because it's hard because
No, it is.
the edge class right now, it really what it leans to me is either you go with the risk of Jermod McCoy or you get a guy like Akeem Mesidor. I don't think safety is going to be that high on their list compared to the other two because they brought in Jalen Thompson. I think they still have Donovan Wilson, but I just think Jermod McCoy is such a risky player. His board falls everywhere. To me, I think the issue is that they don't have a second round pick. A lot of the premium corners after this are second round guys. And I think there are a lot of teams in between, the picks I'm going to go with Jermod McCoy here. I just think the risk
Okay.
is definitely there. Yeah, but they did the same thing with Siobhan Revel and drafted him. They don't really, bother with injury risks. They care about the production of their guys. And when Jermod McCoy is on the field, he's fantastic. He's definitely boosted his stock up from his pro days. And I just think corner is such a desperate need for them at this position. And really, to me, it's a kind of a hard drop off where you get a lot of guys. The next guy I could see is probably past that 20 realm in the back half of the first round. If not, you're pulling into the second round guys. I think you could still get a quality edge at 20, but I think you have to go with the best corner available in this position. And if Jermod McCoy is there, you swing for the fences because you desperately need that secondary help. And you're seeing the opportunity besides that really tough injury. He's coming in. He looks really good right now.
No, especially. And I think part of this is once you get closer to the draft, you have so many smoke screens, especially. And so you have so many crazy stories. Like just, a few weeks ago, there was this huge story of Caleb Downs with his knee issue.
Yep.
So Jerome McCoy has, in the past has had that issue with his knee, torn ACL. So as much as I want to believe every story of every degenerative knee problem, how much is that really going to affect
Yes.
his true draft stock? So I agree with you. I think this is a good fit for him, definitely.
Okay.
Pick 13, LA Rams. This is the pick from the Falcons for basically James Pierce. There's two places I can go. I mean, it's hard to deny the talent of Francis Mauiaga already up here at pick 7. Yes, I know Warren McLaren Jr. played really well down the stretch last year. After Havenstein retired, I can also see them potentially going with a wide receiver, Jordan Tyson, still being on
Uh-huh.
the board. I think he can fit in a little bit of that slot, a little bit outside. Can kind of do everything without necessarily having to be that wide receiver one. I wouldn't even be surprised if Omar Cooper goes in a little bit earlier than people expect. Top 15. Could also see a situation where they want to
Yeah.
go and upgrade the linebacker core with someone like
Mhm.
CJ Allen. So
He's been rising up
with
boards
all
too.
this, yes, he's that old prototypical linebacker. I do think because of the age of Stafford and how much time he has left, I think you go and give him as many weapons as possible. You are already going to pay Puka Nakua a lot pretty soon, and Devontae Adams may not have that much more years left in him. I think you go and get potentially one of the best, sidekicks for the near future, kind of similar to the Jordan Addison, Jefferson of a few years ago. Pick 13. I'm going with Jordan Tyson, Arizona State.
Wow. I like and then the other and again another guy with injury concerns, but you have
Yeah.
Devontae Adams there. You have a security blanket if you want to wait a year, kind of heal up. But man, that's a fun offense. Maximize your windows.
Mm.
Yeah, I really think it's receiver or offensive line in this play because with Warren McClendon as well, as much as he played, I think he's got 1 year left on his contract. So definitely, but that's a fun receiving core. Oh my
It is
God.
with an MVP quarterback as well.
Oh man, 14 got a lot tougher because I
Hmm.
was going. I'm really debating right now over two guys. specifically, and that's offensive linemen. It's hard for me because the Ravens don't need a tackle. They need a guard. And Francis Maui Noah is there. And
He
he
can play a
could
lot.
definitely be a guard and slide in and play different
Mm.
positions. But I really like Olavegiwane. I think he fits that physical mentor culture. Oh man, this is hard. I think those are the two positions I kind of think about. But I think to me, I just can't see Maui Noah slipping this far down in this draft
Yeah.
board. And I think it's like my mindsets with the Ravens is like, oh, you have Olavegiwane there, but you also have Francis Maui Noah. Francis
Hmm.
Maui Noah would be an unbelievable guard, but it's also the Ravens have had tackle injury problems in the past. Ronnie Stately's an older guy. He's had injury problems in the past. So also getting that offensive lineman flexibility at that position could be really crucial for them. I'm going to go with Maui Noah here because I feel like they'll say, listen, we're going to slot you into guard. If not, we're going to put you in at offensive tackle, kind of get you rolling. If you want to play different positions, have that offensive lineman flexibility, but also just can't see a guy who's this talented slip this far down the board and the Ravens say, we can't let this guy get past us.
No, and I agree. And especially with Bronny Stanley already being as older as he is, I could definitely see them getting someone who can play, you know, both sides, guard and tackle, and let him just be a chess piece on that offense. All
Yeah,
right.
no, exactly.
Pick 15, the Buccaneers. Man, they can do so much here. Tackles is not their biggest need. Spencer Fano, we have talked about, can play that interior. Obviously, they have Grant Barden, who played decent at center. Cody Munch has dealt with some injuries, same as Ben Brenson. So their interior offensive line is definitely a place they can go to. Safety as well. Antoine Winfield is an incredible safety, but then they have Tyreek Smith, it's their other starter. Corner is another big piece. They lost Jamel Dean. They have some young guys, but don't really see any corners I like at this early pick. Backer and edge, I think, is the two spots that they go to.
Yeah.
Now, with how they run their defense as a 3-4, Key Mestor and Kendrick Folk don't necessarily fit that linebacker edge rusher that they desperately need outside of Yaya Diaby. Akeem a little bit more at about 260, but there's some reports that he's up to 280. TJ Parker, I guess a situation down here where he comes in and is that pick. But I think you find yourself in a Levante David replacement. I think you go someone like CJ
Whoa.
Allen right here. Second linebacker off the board.
Yeah, I've seen him go all over the place.
Me
I
too.
remember the while back it was very, first round linebacker, him and Sonny Styles. And then I kind of saw him as a second. And then you kind of see him fall a little bit to the second round, but then you also see him kind of rise up the boards. Because I think a lot of people like teams like he reminds them of a guy like Roquan Smith, prototypical
Yep.
linebacker out of Georgia. And Roquan Smith, he's one of the best linebackers in all of football. So if that's the case, I mean, yeah, you run in the pick and you get CJ Allen right there as a great pick. 16 of the Jets was really thinking wide receiver in this position. But again, I just think if this guy's on the board in your position, you have to draft him for your sake. And the Jets are going to be taking Olavegiwane right here.
Cool.
You lose, I think one of the things you forget about is they did lose Elijah Vera Tucker in free agency
And John Simpson.
and John Simpson. So guard is definitely a need for them. And they played a lot where it was Josh Myers at center and then oh
Joe
God,
Tipman.
what's his name? Joe
Joe
Tipman,
Tipman.
but you still have that other offensive guard position locked up. They have prioritized the young offensive line. And I mean, this is one of those guys, he's definitely not the best guard prospect since Quentin Nelson, but he's one of the better guard prospects I've seen in a while. Super physical bully ball, exactly what, they want to run is really big physical offensive linemen. He fits that perfectly, and you get one of the best young offensive lines in all of football. I just think you take the best player available in this position, but also a really big player of need.
No, for sure. Man, that would be 3 drafts in a row where they go offensive line in the first round. I love it.
I don't
You
I
got to
don't
build up
see
this.
why not. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to build up those trenches. I love it. And pick 17, the Lions are pissed that they go Ione just went. Um, Pick 17, Lions, they can go in a lot of different ways. I do think offensive tackle is still a huge need. I know in the past I have said that this is a lock for Monroe Freeling. I still think he is definitely in play here. They have been in talks of
Oh,
potentially moving Penny Sewell to left tackle if needed to be, but in
yep.
this case, keep Penny Sewell as your all pro, first team all pro at right tackle. Go and get the guy that fits your scheme. Massive, athletic offensive tackle, Monroe Freeling to the Lions, pick 17.
Again, another player falls, this draft falls right in your lap. Hey, you get this opportunity. You lose Taylor Decker. You get one of the only prototypical left tackles in the entire draft that is a possible
Yep.
first round pick. So, as much as they hate seeing Yo Vegawane go, you still get one of those pieces, if not one of the most important pieces, picked up in the first round. Speaking of falling in your lap, the Minnesota Vikings. Yep, get their Harrison Smith replacement
Yep.
in Dylan Thieneman. Not because they're both white, but also because Dylan Thieneman is one heck of a safety, instinctual, really ball hawking. I've seen reports of people grading him higher than Caleb Downs in
He,
certain
I think,
places, which is
yeah, I think
really
it's definitely
surprising.
a lot closer than people are expecting it to be.
Yeah. But nevertheless, the Vikings need secondary help. Get younger at that position. You have a chance to make one more push. You got Kyler Murray on the roster. Get someone you can anchor that safety position with Harrison Smith gone.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, you said exactly, kind of falling right into it. Speaking of that, pick 19, the Carolina Panthers, Kenyon Sadiq's on the board. Your
Yep.
biggest need on your roster is tight end. While Kenyon Sadiq is not your typical, big body inline blocker, he is a athletic freak that has the ability to be that blocker if necessary. Has not had a lot of production in college, but
Uh,
that's because he was sharing the ball a lot. So he's a natural
yeah,
catcher.
you
He
cut
has
out there for a second.
a
Yeah.
yeah, sorry about that. He's a
No.
natural catcher, running after catch ability. He has some blocking that he's really good at. A lot of things to clean up, but I think this is a home run pick if he is there at the selection.
Yeah, I mean, this is the third year in a row they draft a technical pass catcher
Yeah.
in the first round. But you needed, again, maximize Bryce Young's window, get him as much help as he possibly can down the line and for the future. I think that's a great pick. This is where it gets a little tough again. Number 20. Yeah, this one's hard because I really, their biggest need by far in this position is linebacker. We cannot go out on the field and have Kenneth Murray all over again.
Yeah, no, actually.
CJ Allen would have been really, really good in this position, but I can't see them reach for a linebacker this high, you
Mhm.
know, which is definitely a tough thing to do. But I can see them building up that pass rush group a little bit more. They have Ezeraku, you have Gary, but again, teams run more than that. Teams run a lot of teams, these guys, they run a lot of different ways. You get multiple pass rushers in the position. You want to maximize that pass rushing window. And again, the way the board falls, it's just really tough for the Cowboys. I just cannot see them reaching for a linebacker in this position. I would kill. This is really hard. Go to the linebackers real quick because I think the premium by far is there,
Mhm.
but I have something in mind that I really like that I'm kind of like scheming up.
I got some ideas if we were thinking about.
I just like the issue I have is pass rush is important for Dallas, but it's not as important as linebacker is right now. And they did
Mhm.
not address that in free agency. They did not address that with Jermon McCoy, right? You address the secondary, but you haven't addressed the linebacker position. You don't have a second round pick. So, right, you're going to bring out the later third round pick to select the linebacker. I can't see that happening.
Yeah.
If they were in this position, what I'd say is, listen, you trade back with someone else and
Mhm.
go back and get someone. But if that's not the case at this position, you're taking a guy who would be a completely surprising pick. But honestly, I could see it. in this position, being Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. And that's taking Jacob Rodriguez at
Yeah.
number 20. I just think, listen, I think Dallas desperately needs a linebacker and also a leader. Jacob Rodriguez is both. And the thing I love about him is they've doubted him on every single thing. And every doubt that they had, he proved them wrong. He's not going to perform well at the Senior Bowl. Was one of the best players at the Senior Bowl. He's not that athletic. Has a really good combine. I mean, he's a Texas guy. He kind of fits a lot of boxes. This guy, really naturally born leader, very instinctual, high IQ football player, pretty athletic linebacker. It's hard to kind of see where he'll fall because I think he could go as high as this if the board falls this way. But I think he could also go a lot lower in the second round. But I just think Cowboys are so desperate for linebacker now, they need to reach for someone. They need to get someone because you cannot wait for the third round to get a linebacker and say, this is my starting linebacker for the future. Because the other guy is thinking is Akeem Mesidor. And I like Akeem Mesidor, and I like that fit too. You're in a contending stage, but at this position, I just think you have to get a linebacker. You have to get the best one available. I think the best one available is a guy like Jacob Rodriguez who can help lead that defense, but also be an instinctual ball hawk next to a guy like Overshown.
No, for sure. And you look at his big things, his turnovers, 7 forced fumbles, 4 interceptions. He had an offensive touchdown last year. I mean, he's a guy that's so versatile. He originally came into college as a quarterback, played a little bit of quarterback at Virginia. I mean, there's a little bit of everything. I understand from the point of no second round pick and no trading back in this scenario. I can see Jacob Rodriguez jump up for sure. But yeah, pick 21. Pittsburgh Steelers. Man, Spencer Fano is just looking at me on this board. Sears' offensive line is pretty good. Broderick Jones is the only kind of question mark that they have really on that offensive line. I don't know if Spencer Fano is really that answer to that left tackle. So I think I'm going to go something a little bit different. I'm going to go to a wide receiver. And I am trying to go with Casey Concepcion, wide receiver from Texas A&M. This is my best. He's my best slot receiver I have. He has some incredible hands, and he will make some contested catches that he should never hit. And with 2 big body receivers of DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman over there, Casey Concepcion can destroy that kind of short to medium routes of that field. And I really like the idea of Casey Concepcion being here for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, you just saw the letter that he put out to teams earlier. Draft me, you won't regret me. He's got that dog in him too. Really fits well, beside really big physical receivers like Michael Pittman and DK Metcalf. Again, you want to maximize that window, likely having Aaron Rodgers again for one more year, give him as much weapons as possible because just trotting out DK Metcalf and Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson is not going to work.
They don't even have Calvin Austin anymore.
Yeah, giant for life. Yep. I think this is a pretty straightforward pick, at least for me. At 22, Chargers need offensive linemen, and a guy like Spencer Fano falls in your lap. Super versatile offensive lineman, is probably a guard in the NFL. Again, another guy who's kind of all over the place with boards, but again, really, really good football player. And you desperately need guard help. We talked about it. You can have Cole Strange, your starting offensive guard, heading into the season. Expect a lot of big things. This is Spencer Fano. This is Spencer Fano right here.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at his size. He's not a true NFL tackle. Not even just like his height. He's not someone that has a lot of power, as well as the wingspan. All those come into play. If it's center, he could potentially play, but I do think it's one of the guard spots. So I agree with you with Spencer Fano. So that's, all the major big time names, top 10, top 15 players off the board.
Okay. So, finally. Yeah.
I know. Philly, pick 23. I do think there's one. Now, you can make an argument one of these offensive linemen here to potentially be a replacement for Lane Johnson next year. But I do think with their window of opportunity, I think it's a go edge rusher. I mean, they're starting edge rushers right now. Nolan Smith, who really has not had much production between injuries and being in a very crowded room. No Jalen Hunt. I know Brendan Graham is back, but there's not a lot. Arnold Ebibike. I do think Akeem Mesidor fits not only what they need as a player, but fits the timeline. They need a
Yeah.
guy come in right now in the back end of the first draft and really give them high production. I'm going with Akeem Mesidor, pick 23 to the Eagles.
Yeah, a lot of people are overlooking the fact about the Eagles' edge room. They're picking a lot of different positions. I've seen wide receiver here mocked a lot
Yep.
because of AJ Brown possibility, but that edge room is thin, really thin.
And
And yeah,
especially with the
Max.
trade where for Dontavius Wicks as well, I do think doesn't necessarily like take receiver out of the question, but I do think that allows them to have more flexibility in the first round.
Yeah, for sure. Cleveland. Let's go to the receiver board real quick, but I do have one guy in mind who is on the board still. And speak of the devil, 24 and 24. Omar Cooper Jr. is that guy. Really good receiver on the board. Cleveland is desperate for receiver help. Just
Yep.
a fantastic player. A lot of great deep threat, moves the ball well, great hands. Really kind of an unsung, again, a guy who has been all over the board. Like you said, you almost
Yeah.
picked him at 13. He falls to 24 in this position, immediately probably becomes Cleveland's wide receiver one and establish a connection with Shadur Sanders or whoever their quarterback is going to be for the future.
Yeah. Omar Cooper is a little it does a little bit of everything, but he's almost a running back in a wide receiver's body.
Mhm.
Really gives that offense huge explosiveness that they need. So I do really like this pairing. Pick 25, the Chicago Bears. I think they can go a lot of different ways. Edge rusher, you have Emmanuel McNeil, Warren, safety on the board here. But I think their biggest need is right in the middle of their defense, and that's defensive tackle. And
This is a good,
there's one guy that's to me better than the rest that are sitting still here on the board,
really,
and that's Peter Woods. Now, there's a lot of stuff
really.
happening with Peter Woods right now, and a lot of that is how he was played this past year compared to previous years. This past year was not great from a statistical standpoint or even from just stats by itself, watching film. He was also, James, I want to throw this little thing at you. How many times do you think he was double teamed, regardless of run or pass? Give me a percentage.
Let's go like 92%.
Okay, it's a little high. He was double teamed 46% of the time. Now,
Wow,
I want to put
that's
this
actually
idea
a
into
lot.
you.
Yeah.
They have another potential first round defensive lineman in TJ Parker. So the fact that teams were completely doing their entire game plan away from Peter Woods is to me one of the reasons why he had such a down year. Plus a little bit of a weight change. He kind of played last year at a 6'3", about 315. He came in to the combine at under 300 pounds, 298. So Clemson really kind of messed with him of what they wanted to do with him. But I think if they are able, any team's able to get his weight back up and play him his natural position, this is a steal at pick 25.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's like we're getting to the point now where these guys are getting mocked all over the boards. Peter Woods, again, another guy who was once considered a top 5 pick in the class. But I really think people sleep on him too in his
Mm-hmm.
position. Ooh, pick 26, Buffalo Bills. Yeah, let's go to the edge rushing group here. Because I do think, without Joey Bosa, you have Gregory Rousseau, but Rousseau's switching to more of an outside linebacker position,
Mm-hmm.
and not necessarily that edge position anymore. So he's going to be doing a lot of that work. They dr- they did address some guys in the draft, but I think one guy that I think they really like long, athletic, physical defensive ends. That's what Gregory Rousseau is. Who's the guy they drafted last year? Landon Jackson is
Yep.
exactly like that. I'm going to go with Keldrick Falk here.
Okay.
Again, a developmental guy. I hope, Buffalo was really bad against the run last year. He's a really good run stopping defensive end. And also a guy who you can mix in to be in that developing pass rushing unit, get some stuff from guys like Gregory Rousseau. You have a young defensive line that you have a lot to work with. You can never use too many defensive linemen. But I also think his run stuffing upside is there for Buffalo because of how bad that run defense was last year. Yeah, I think this is
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Kendrick Falk that has him dropping so low is his get off speed. He's not the most flexible guy. but he's extremely powerful. And a big thing that I could see potential wise is he played last year at 288 pounds. That's a big defensive end. He came into the combine significantly lighter. So that could easily become lighter on his feet, could be a lot more explosive. So I do think going into a good room as the Bills have at the edge position and D line, you give a guy that can play just about every position over there. And I really do like
Mhm.
that pick.
Yeah,
Pick 27 ers. This one is interesting because to me, I think tackle is a really big need for him.
yeah.
Not only is Trent Williams being, I mean, who knows how many more years
He's
he
a
has.
nuisance. He's a
I
nuisance.
know. Colson McKivitz is not the best right tackle. Plus, their interior is not great. Connor Colby is just a guy right now. Nick Booney is pretty good. Jake Brendel is pretty good. I see them potentially going offensive line. I think Blake Miller's here on the board. I do think right tackle is a need, but I think they go with someone a little bit different. They go a little bit of potential for a guy that may not have to start day one. And to me, that is Arizona State offensive lineman Max Ihenacher. This guy, I
Yeah,
mean, this is potential, 100%. Um, Ihenacher first started playing football in college.
yeah.
I mean, this is a guy from, yeah, comes from Nigeria and didn't play football at all in high school. And he's already emerged as a high end potential first round pick. I think you get in behind someone like Trent Williams, sky's the limit for someone as athletic and strong as Ihenacher is. Pick 27, that is my decision.
I like that. I like that move. Yeah. Take your time with it. Take your time with it. Yeah, this is another one that's a little different. You did address offensive line in a lot of certain ways. You know,
Hmm.
Wyatt Teller, Braden Smith. You brought back Ed Ingram. Center, I really don't think is in position in this state of the game. The defensive tackle board is interesting, I think, here. They don't really, defensive tackle, they lost a couple guys. They did bring in Logan Hall. But they did lose a couple guys in free agency. And they could use some help there. I'm bouncing between two things.
Yeah.
Specifically two players in particular is Caden McDonald and Blake Miller.
Hmm.
They did bring in Braden Smith, but he is and Wyatt Teller, but they both are pushing 30 at this time. They did pick up CJ Stroud's 5th-year option, but really, I just think, but they're still really questioning CJ Stroud. I think they're gonna want to push the window a little bit more on what they have. So I don't think Blake Miller is the pick here. I'm gonna go with Cade McDonald here. It's really crazy that the best defense in the league gets a really, really good, big physical defensive tackle that is just crusher in the run. Fits right in that interior. You get a young guy in there to make some moves. And again, same thing here. I get it. Some of those guys are older. I think you could probably bring in some solid backups in the 3rd round if you really want to in that position. But yeah, you built a lot in your offensive line. You didn't address the defensive tackle room. Why not go ahead and do that right now and get arguably the best defensive tackle on the board and the best run stuffer in the class?
No, 100%. And I completely agree with you there. Yeah, I mean, just the rich gets richer, right?
Yeah, yeah, for real.
Pick 29, the Chiefs. Chiefs originally went with the lineman,
Ruben Bain.
Ruben Bain, kind of fell for them. I think this is the spot where you go and get your Trent McDuffie replacement. I think
Okay.
this is the perfect spot for a player like Avion Terrell, who has a high chance of kind of strictly playing almost that slot corner position that Trent McDuffie has played for so long and like Jerry Sneed before him. So why not get another very physical corner that's fantastic in the run game? You know, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you except for someone that's so physical. He's able to force fumbles, turnovers, all of that incredibly fast. Get a dog at that slot position. Pick 29,
Yeah,
Avion Terrell.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Okay, 30. This is really, we went with
Uh, Malachi Lemon.
Makai Lemon.
Yep, Malachi Lemon.
Um, yeah, this is a hard. There's a lot of good. To me, again, this is Miami speaking. You got to go with the best player available on the board each time. And one of the biggest issues right now with Miami is their secondary. and you
Mhm.
have another safety staring you in the face is such a good player, and it's unbelievable that he fell this far. And I'm talking about Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Yeah, again, I think Blake Miller's a close second in this position to secure a solid right tackle spot. Or yeah, I mean, this is hard. Yeah, you know what? I am gonna go with Blake Miller here. I am.
All right.
I think that I like Emmanuel McNeil Warren a lot more, but I think Halfley is going to really want to address the trenches and maximize that offensive line. You have a good left tackle in Patrick Paul and a good center Aaron Brewer. Where you're struggling is in that right tackle spot. You don't really have anyone.
Yeah, Alaric Jackson um,
Or
has not been the best.
Alaric Jackson,
Yeah, isn't that his name?
Austin Jackson, Austin
Austin
Jackson.
Jackson. Sorry, I'm thinking
You
of.
you can throw in Austin Jackson in the
Yeah,
interior, kinda move him around in that position if you want to, but Halfley's gonna wanna maximize those trenches, get Malik Willis some protection alongside, getting Mekhi Lemon, get him an offensive tackle too. Get the best players available, build around Malik Willis, get him some time. I think as much as I wanna say get the best player available with Emmanuel McNeil Warren, which I would love to in this position, you get a premium right tackle in this spot at 30. I think you go ahead and select them.
yeah. I mean, it's very rare that there's a 4-year starter at such a commanding school as Clemson, especially in the offensive line. And if he's here with room to develop and as athletic as he is, this is a home run pick. Build up that offense.
Yeah.
Pick 31, I have the Patriots. Man, they can go a few different ways here. I'll tell you this, I'm looking at a few different things. I could see them potentially going edge rusher. Cassius Howell's here, TJ Parker. They put some money into it. Draymond Jones, they signed. Other than that, they have good D tackles. Harold Landry had a really good start to last year, but kind of faded off, plus some injuries. So I could see them even going with TJ Parker as well. Wide receivers, another position they could do. I know they brought in Romeo Dobbs. Behind him, you released, Stephon Diggs. So you have Keyshawn Booty and Matt Collins. So Denzel Boston kind of fits a little bit of that size of Matt Collins. So maybe want to get someone that's a little bit different as a wide receiver. I could even see Jermaine Bernard, a little bit more of that running back style of receiver. And as well as you could always talk about potentially putting in a player like Emmanuel McNeil Warren,
Yeah.
into that secondary. They brought in Kevin Byard, but other than that, Craig Woodson is an okay player. Emmanuel McNeil Warren can play not only that strong safety, but as well as a slot. Even potentially a money backer in certain circumstances. But with all that being said, I do think a player like TJ Parker is where I'm wanting to end up going. If he's able to get anything like the 2024 TJ Parker, this is an absolute steal, kind of similar to the Peter Woods
Yeah.
situation.
I like
So
that.
TJ Parker.
Address the edge room. Address the edge room. Seattle. A lot of places you could go here. I'm specifically yeah, this is hard. Let's look at the well, because I think Edge is one that you could really maximize here. Tank Lawrence's time is kind of running out in that position. You have Derek Hall there. You did lose Boye Mafe in that rotation. I think corner's a big one here too. Because you have Devon Witherspoon, you have Josh Joe, but then it's like, who else do you
Yep.
have? And to me, I feel like corner is gonna let's go to the corners because I really feel like corner is probably a bigger need right now. And man, this is a hard one because I feel like there's one guy here that isn't really mocked here, but the main thing is that he was Nick Emanwari's teammate, and that's Brandon Cease. So I could
Yeah.
definitely see them making a hard push for such a physical corner like Cisse in this position to pair alongside one of their best guys in Nick Emanwari. I'm going to go that way. I'm going to take Brand.
All right.
I think Colton Hood might be a little bit of the better corner,
Mhm.
but I think that I think Brandon Cisse, super physical, jammy, jumpy corner, exactly what Seattle likes. Really physical corners, but really instinctual football player. And then also you got that connection with Nicky Manwari. He's going to be pushing hard for his teammate. Say, hey, we need to address the corner room. I got one of my buddies who is a fantastic football player coming in here. I think that is a sneaky choice, but I think it's one that could definitely happen.
No, and I agree. And I do think Brandon Cisse today is a better corner than Colton Hood. Colton Hood is a little bit younger, a little bit more physical, a little bit bigger. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. But yeah, no, I love it. All right, well, there's the first round.
All
Yeah, a lot
right,
of
second round.
second round. We'll go a little bit quicker here just because it's not
Yeah.
necessarily the first round. Pick 33, we have the Jets. Originally, the Jets picked David Bailey, Vega Ione. I could see them potentially going wide receiver here. Obviously, you have Garrett Wilson, but behind him, it's not the best. I can see him going with a big body like Denzel Boston, give whoever ends up being the quarterback, if it's Geno Smith, a big body receiver. I could even see them potentially going with a player like Colton Hood as to be their future outside big receiver. But I think you already pick defense, offense. I do think you get another weapon. So I am going Denzel Boston, wide receiver, Washington.
Okay, okay, I like that. I like that. I think another one you can play is Emmanuel McNeil Warren here. That's one I'm
Yeah.
surprised. He's been slipping a little bit, so it could be good, but I don't think the Cardinals take him here. I think this is one the Cardinals are saying, thank you so much that we have our quarterback for the future in this position, and we're taking Ty Simpson with this pick.
Wow.
Because listen, and here's my hypothetical thought is I don't think this was going to happen. Either the Jets or the Cardinals are going to trade up to take him, kind of like a Jackson Dart scenario of how it was last
Hmm.
year, being able to go up and get a quarterback. But again, the same position. I think the Cardinals, if this happens, they're going to take Ty Simpson and say, because when you look at their quarterback room now, Gardner Minshew, 100% aren't going to save you. You
Yep.
need a quarterback, and you could sit him for a year, take your time, but you have a really good quarterback coach. Bring in a guy like that for a reason.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I like it. The biggest thing with Ty Simpson is the lack of film on him. 1 year starting, first half of the year was fantastic. Back end was a little bit worse. So if they decide that Ty Simpson is the quarterback that they like now compared to potentially what could come in next year's draft class, I could see a big time swing for a quarterback. So I like that. Pick 35, Tennessee Titans. Their previous first round pick was
Sonny Styles.
Sonny Styles. Yep. So edge is still a big need. Wide receiver, running back. Their safety group is another big thing. I don't think their safety group is anything to really write home about. I could see them potentially going best player available. I could also see them going with, as much help as possible, someone like Emmanuel. But I mean, their safeties, it's nothing great. Amani Hooker has been there for a long time. He's not anything, better than an average starter. Kevin Winston Jr. did not have a lot of playing time from Penn State last year. I do think Emmanuel McNeil Warren is better than both of them. So I think that's where I'm going to end up going. I know I'm kind of going along on it.
Wow.
I'm going to go with best player available. I'm going with Emmanuel McNeil Warren, pick 35.
Probably our biggest faller in this draft.
Yeah.
So the Titans immediately scoop him up. I was gonna have the Raiders take him, but it doesn't really matter. So Fernando Mendoza. Yes, this is a hard one. You got Tyler Linderbaum. I think there's a couple of ways you can really do this. I think Manuel Pregnone is one I could definitely see in this
Yep.
position. Omar Cooper Jr. off the board. Wide receiver, I mean, you pulled it up. Wide receiver is another one I could really see being in play here. With Kubiak, this is a hard one. I think to me in this position, I don't see a lot of receivers that I love 100%. And you get Linderbaum free agency, but that offensive line was one of the worst in the league. It was the worst offensive line in the league, one of the
Yeah.
worst I've seen. I'm going to go with Emmanuel Pregnone here, get another Oregon offensive guard to pair next to Jackson Powers Johnson. You solidify that offensive line for Fernando Mendoza. You solidify that interior offensive line, get the best guard available in your position. Again, help out Mendoza as much as you can. It first comes in the offensive line and you address it. I think it's a slam.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with you that offensive line is probably their second biggest need behind quarterback. Man, pick 37, the Giants, originally with Sonny Styles. If there was a big time receiver left on the board, I think this is the place they could definitely go to. No, Chris Bell is not necessarily going to be a day one starter with that torn ACL. High potential Jermaine Bernard is okay. Chris Brazil. Oh man, this is tough. I do think after going with Sonny Styles on defense, I do think offense is probably where you have to end up going. Unless, of course, Dexter Lawrence does end up retiring and then Caleb Banks, someone that could definitely be
Retiring?
or not retiring, getting traded, sorry. I think Caleb
Oh,
Banks is someone that could be in play. Man, this is tough. I could even potentially see someone like Caleb Lomo being drafted to play
mm.
potential guard because right now, I mean, it's Daniel Falalo, the right guard, and Evan Neal. So
Yeah, they got
not
John Runyon. They got John Runyon.
John Running's playing the left guard.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
talking about strictly a right guard.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
I could also see somebody like Giddings Dunker,
yeah. Yeah,
100% be in this spot. I'm going to go with the best player. Caleb Lamu is going to be my pick. I do think he's going to be able to play more guard in the NFL. So why not to the team that needs it the most?
I like that. I think that's a good play. Speaking of offensive line, can you go back from there to offense? I'm going to go with a guy that I think has been rising up draft boards in the past couple of weeks. Has been fantastic. He's a Texas A&M native, plays offensive guard. Chase Basantis is my pick here. Again, really physical offensive guard, Big Ten player. Same thing, we don't know how much time Wyatt Teller's got. You could maybe slide him into center if you really want to, but this is a guy you kind of hang on to the future with, address the trenches and build it up, give him some time. It's a great player.
Yeah, no, I 100%. Cleveland Browns, they picked Caden Proctor to kind of fix their little bit of their offensive line. I think receiver is another huge need for him. I think Ty Simpson could have been in play if he is
Mm.
still here. Receiver, I think this is the issue because Chris Bell has a torn ACL, so he's not going to be able to play as much as they want to.
They got Omar Cooper Jr., so you got,
You're right. We drafted Omar Cooper there, didn't we?
yep.
All right, then that changes up what I want to do. I'm going to go with Edge. I'm going to make Myles Garrett a happy man. Cassius Howell is going to be the Robin to Myles Garrett, especially with AJ Epinenza, him failing his physical, I believe. Why not add more D line talent? So right now it will be Alex Wright versus Cassius Howell to be the starting left end.
I like that a lot. Chiefs are up. Who do we pick for the Chiefs? Ruben Bain and who else?
Ruben Bain
Mm,
and I believe we went Avion Terrell.
Avion Terrell. Okay. Yeah, this is a tough one. I could definitely see wide receiver being in play here, but I think there's another guy on the board I think could play corner too and be another rookie corner duo. I'm gonna take Colton Hood here. I'm gonna take Colton Hood here.
Yeah.
Why not, you double dip in the cornerback room, keep addressing it, keep it growing. And Colton Hood, I think, is a fantastic player in this position.
No, 100%. Um, sorry, everything's a little laggy, but I want to try my best to get
No, it's
back
fine.
to
Just
corners.
too many picks, too many picks.
I know, right? But no, I 100% agree with you. I think you just add as much talent as you can to that secondary. Colton Hood. So that leaves me with pick 41. That's the Bengals. We originally had them going with, do you remember?
It was Mansour Delane.
Mansur Delane. Yes. I do think D tackle is a big need for him. Yes, they got Jonathan Allen. BJ Hill has not been very good for him or TJ Slaton. Yes, they have Chris Jenkins. They drafted in the second round a few years ago. I think on this board, you get someone who could penetrate the line of scrimmage with somebody as big as Caleb Banks. I just think they have so many people, especially in that edge rusher group that they've drafted in the past. Shamir Stewart, Miles Murphy. I don't think you necessarily want to throw in another edge rusher. And I don't like any of the linebackers left this early in the second round to potentially go here. So for me, I'm going to go with Caleb Banks.
I like it. Really free. They love their freak athletes.
Yeah, they do.
High upside guys too. So it's a good pick. Saints.
Especially with Boye Mafe going there as well. Isn't necessarily their biggest need anymore.
Saints. I'm gonna go with a guy that I'm surprised kind of fell this far. I think this is an edge spot for the Saints. They addressed the receiving core, but I'm gonna go with UCF pass rusher Malachi Lawrence
That's a great pick.
here. Yeah, I mean, I've seen him mocked in the first round. I'm
Yeah.
surprised he kind of fell this far. he's kind of a guy that was, in like kind of people were very quiet on him, and then he blew up the combine. They look back, man, this guy's got good tape, freakishly athletic, really explosive. You need a guy to pair next to Chase Young. I think he fits the mold of a Saint of kind of that Chase Young, a little more not like as big as a Cameron Jordan guy. Definitely a little more kind of a finesse dude who's got a lot of power and is super physical. I think this is a Malachi Lawrence pick.
Yeah, I love it. Especially with like Malachi Lawrence. I mean, his speed and power is better than anyone else
Yep.
in this edge rusher class. I love it. Pick 43, we have the Miami Dolphins sitting with Makai Lemon, Blake Miller, back-to-back offense. I think sitting here on defense, they go with, I think a defensive lineman. I do think corners are a big spot. I could see them potentially going with someone like D'Angelo Pons, with a little bit of that kind of slot. I really like Zion Young. His biggest thing to me is a little bit of off the field issues, but you cannot disagree with the tape as well as his size and his potential. 6'6", 260. Obviously, edge is such a huge need, losing Jalen Phillips, um, as well as Bradley Chubb, and basically the same offseason, same season. You have Chop Robinson, but I think Zion Young fits what they need as an edge rusher.
I like that. I like that pick. Address the trenches. The Jets. Who have we gone with? David
David
Bailey, Vega
Bailey,
Wane.
Vego
Man,
Ione,
this is a
Denzel
fun one.
Boston.
This is a fun one. I think I know who I'm picking here. Someone who represents Aaron Glenn culture really well and could be a really good, outside but also slot corner. And that's D'Angelo Pons.
Yeah.
I think you bring in Nashawn Wright, you have Brandon Stevens, you kind of have your outside corners. D'Angelo Pons can play both side and inside in the slot due to his size. He fits that Aaron Glenn culture really well too. A super physical bully ball corner who, I mean, yeah, he's a 5'9" corner, but he does not play like a 5'9" corner. They need to consistently address their secondary as much as possible. I think D'Angelo Pons, again, has that versatility to play both outside and inside and could be a really good pick for them.
Yeah, no, 100%. Um, Pick 45, the Ravens. We originally went with, I believe, an offensive lineman.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, Francis Maui Noam.
yep. So I think you go on the opposite trenches. Christian Miller is still here. There's a chance Christian Miller next Thursday is the first D tackle off the board. Run stuffing was such a big issue for the Ravens this past year.
Mhm.
And honestly, we're not sure what comes of Nominee Matabuke, if he's even able to come back after that neck injury. And Trey Hendrickson does not add much value to that run stopping ability at all at that edge position. So I think you go and get a monster in Christian Miller.
Okay. Like that a lot. Let's go to the edge group real quick. Let's
Yep.
see that what we got there. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I know the guy I'm taking here. I'm going with R. Mason Thomas at the
Oh,
for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Fits the mold of what they want. Really fast, athletic, stand up defensive ends. Yeah. Again, another guy who's undersized, but man, he is a freak of nature and a force. Really shifty defensive end. They've kind of struggled with some of their defensive end drafts, but they need to address the position really badly, beef up that defensive line. I think
mhm.
he's a perfect fit for what they want to do.
No, 100%. Yeah, I think he fits that edge position so beautifully with the Bucks. Pick 47, the Colts. I think the Colts need one of, honestly, two or three positions, and that's edge, linebacker, and safety. Looking on the board, there's one safety I have kind of fallen in love with. That's AJ Halsey from LSU. He is a big body, 6 foot, about 215, 220, hard hitting, incredible tackler. He's so good in zone, and he will be able to play that strong safety spot. Especially with someone like Kenny Moore potentially being traded. I
Yeah,
do think this fits really good with AJ Halsey to the Colts.
I
Kind
like
of the
that. I
exact
like that.
opposite of what Caleb Bynum is, or Cameron Bynum.
Yeah, I like that pick. Atlanta. Yeah, I really think I'm gonna go with Jeremy Bernard here at pick 49. I think
Mhm.
he's not. I think he complements Drake London really well as that wide receiver too. Drake London, just a big physical wide receiver. Jeremy Bernard, not the most freakishly athletic wide receiver, but he's efficient, really good route runner. He's just a guy who knows what to do. He's just a guy who
Yeah.
plays ball really well. You need a guy like that alongside a freak athlete like Drake London, and you're going to need guys to help Michael Penix and Tua put some points on the board. So I think they address that with that.
No, and I love that. He's basically, to me, he's a running back in a wide receiver body, or
Mm.
wide receiver in a running back body, but incredible run after the catch ability. Pick 49, the Vikings. I think they can do a lot here. To me, I think their D line, especially with getting rid of Jonathan Allen. I think Lee Hunter is sitting here in their face. I think he's a perfect nose tackle. Yes, he'd be a little bit older, but to me, he fits exactly what this team needs. So I am going with Lee Hunter.
I like that. I like that pick. Man, Detroit Lions. I'm
Mhm.
debating over two guys specifically. That's guard Keelan Rutledge and defensive edge
Fit-
Gabe Jackas. I'm gonna go with Gabe Jackas here. I would love for them to take Keelan Rutledge, solidify the offensive line. But Gabe Jackas is just a Dan Campbell guy. Blows up
Yeah, it
plays,
is.
really high motor, super physical. You need a guy next to Aiden Hutchinson who can rush the passer. I think he's that guy.
No, 100%. I love that fit there as well, as he is such a Dan Campbell guy.
Yeah.
Pick 51, the Carolina Panthers, they went with Kenyon Sadiq first round. Man, I could see them going wide receiver if there was someone here that they fell in love with. I mean, as much as I hate to draft a receiver that's dealt with such a big time injury, I could definitely see him going Chris Bell. Chris Bell is a perfect mix of size, speed, physical profile. Um, and he doesn't have to necessarily be the wide receiver one. I could see them going D line as well. I could see them pairing Jaden Phillips up with a little bit of a better edge rusher. I know they have a Nick Scorson over there. They have a couple guys, but I do like Derek Moore as well. And this is tough. I'm going back and forth.
What about safety?
It could go safety as well. Now, there's a couple safeties off the board. It's the only issue. Kamari Ramsey is another guy that's kind of like AJ Halsey, a little bit bigger, big, physical, can do a little bit of everything. I think it's a little early for some of these other guys. Genesis
Like
Smith,
Trendane Stukes, is he on there, or did we take him already?
Jordan Stukes is on here. He's a little bit more, well, he played some safety. He played a lot of that slot position last
Mhm.
year. And they're a big physical guy. He's someone that could definitely have a lot of impact day one. Man, honestly, I hate to say this, but this Panthers team is looking pretty good on paper, honestly, especially with
Except
the
for
addition of
quarterback's
Kenyon
the big
Sadiq.
question.
That's the issue. There's no quarterback on the roster that or on the draft board that I feel more comfortable with than Bryce Young. But I mean, offensive line, yeah, I'm going back and forth, honestly. Even say, I mean, Trayvon Moorig's really good safety, and then Nick Scott's okay. Ah, come on, no, I'm taking a long time.
Yeah, what's going on?
I'm just going back and forth. That wasn't necessarily the most prepared for round two, pick 51. But I am going to stick with my guns. I'm going to go with Kamari Ramsey. It's a little bit early, but the production is there. This guy's so versatile, plays so many different positions. And I mean, this is a perfect. He was the glue guy. Played nickel, slot, big up safety, extremely fast, high IQ player, plays a little bit of everything. Kamari Ramsey.
Wow, who knew that I would get the Packers pick and I already know who I'm going to take. I'm very surprised he fell this far. I really think in the draft there's a strong chance they're going to have to trade up to get this guy. But this is Chris Johnson, cornerback from San Diego State. Green Bay has been linked to him for a long time. They said there's a lot of fans of him, and for good reason. He's
Mm-hmm.
a fantastic corner, and Green Bay desperately needs corner help in this position. Again, I would be very surprised if this happens and if this is how far he falls, but if he does, I think Green Bay's running to the podium to get a future starting corner and a really good player at that.
Yeah, no, I mean I like it, Sif. It's such a position of need. I think this kind of fits well with this pick as well. Pick 53, Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm gonna go with Jennings Dunker. I think he perfectly fits into what they need a left guard. Isaac Samalo left in free agency, so this to me fits perfect with the Steelers.
Yeah, I like that. We picked Jordan Tyson with Philly.
Jordan
Or no,
Tyson
no,
was
no.
with
We went. Who do we go with
we
Philly?
went with edge rusher Akeem Messador.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna, you got Dontavian Wicks. They don't trade AJ Brown in this selection. I think they still try to get a weapon for Jalen Hurts, still in that contention phase. Give me Eli Sowers here. Give me Eli
Okay, yeah.
Sowers. Tight end has been a big thing for them. Dallas Goedert's on a 1-year contract. You really don't have anyone else other than that. Why not get a big body guy? Basically plays like a receiver to fit in that role. Give Jalen Hurts some more help at that.
No, and I really do like that pick. Um, Pick 55 Chargers. We went with Spencer Fano to play potentially that left guard spot instead of Trevor Penning, or right guard spot Cole Strange. Edge rusher is a possibility here. They could get a long-term replacement for Khalil Mack. I think linebacker as well. Denzel Henley is really good, but our Dalen Henry is really good, but behind him, Denzel Perryman, been in the league for a long time, kind
He
of
has been in the league for a
not
long time.
not the best. Corners as well could be a spot. Cam Hart has played pretty well throughout. Tareep still. None of those guys are like the biggest guys. I could see Keith Abney being here.
Uh,
Um, as well as safety, Tony Jefferson is their strong safety as of right now. He's way past his prime,
yeah,
but I do think with how the defense runs, with Derwin James playing so much slot, being down the line of scrimmage, I think I am going to go with Keith Abney instead of
I
someone like
like it.
Keontae
Yeah,
Scott at pick 55.
I like that. I like that a lot. I get the Jags too. What
And
a
you get the
day.
Jags.
So I get to pick who's like the lowest guy on the board. Like if you go like all the
Oh
way
yeah,
down, like a
yeah. Let's go to kickers.
kicker, we're taking Will Fair and no, I'm just kidding.
They want not even Trace Smack.
No, not even Trey Smack. We're
A
going
double
lower.
shot to me right there.
Yeah, I think the biggest need here is linebacker. I think defensive line's in play, but they've done a lot with their defensive line. They just recently brought
Mix
Trayvon
them up.
Walker on an extension. I'm not going to go with any of those guys. I'm actually going to go with Anthony Hill Jr. here. I'm surprised he's ranked that low.
Yeah.
Fits the prototypical middle linebacker spot like Devin Lloyd. Really, just really good tackling, efficient linebacker. Actually,
You going to change it up?
so this is hard because I do, there's two options here, but I think I'm going to go with Anthony Hill Jr. I'm really considering Jake Golday in this position as well,
Huh?
but I feel like Jake Golday is kind of more of a raw prospect, and I feel like Jacksonville is going to want a guy who can immediately step in and become a linebacker one alongside Forsay Luakon. Again, kind of a really good compliment, almost similar to Forsyth, really good tackler, good side to sides, really solid in coverage as well. I'm going to go with Anthony Hill Jr. Get your new linebacker, Josh. How you feeling about that pick?
No, and I agree. I think Anthony Hill is one of those players that can play and do a little bit of everything. This guy is, from getting awards as a freshman to getting awards last year, this is a guy that has played a lot of games for Texas and does a little bit of everything that they asked for. No, I'm right there with you. I do really like that pick from you.
Thank you.
Pick 57, the Bears, they went with, I believe I gave him Peter Woods
Yep.
originally. There's some spots they can go down here. Edge rusher is always such a big need for them. Dai Oyingbo is not necessarily the best edge prospect ever, and you really need somebody across from Montez Sweat. A strong safety, I could see. They brought in Kobe Bryant, but they lost both Jaquan Brisker and Kevin Byard. I don't necessarily like any of these prospects this early on. Wide receiver as well could be a situation. With their burden, they have Roma Dunze, but behind them, there's not a lot, especially after trading away um, DJ Moore. So to me, I am going to go with defense. I'm going to go back to that D line, and I am picking edge rusher Derek Moore from Michigan.
Beefing up that front seven.
You have to.
Okay. I like the pick. With the Niners, we selected
Max
Maxa
Ihenacho.
at that position. Yeah, this is hard, but I kind of have let's go to wide receivers real quick. There are two guys. There's a couple guys I'm looking at. There's three guys in particular. Chris Brazzell, I think, could be a really fun complement to, you have Mike Evans, who definitely is older, but You
Uh-huh.
have, you also have Ricky Pearsall in that position. You're getting like a big time deep threat guy who is just a streamer down the field and is super athletic like Chris Brazel. Antonio Williams, I think, is another really fun one as well, who has been rising up boards. And then another guy who has been really rising up boards is probably a little lower. Is Ted Hurst
Yeah.
from Georgia State. So let's look at him real quick.
Is he what,
He
6'5", 6'4"?
6'4", 206. Um, I mean, really good. And let's go back to Antonio. I think it's between those three. I think you're going to, I think Chris Bell's injury history is going to scare some people. Oh, like I could see Keelan Rutledge going in that position as well.
I had to reset.
I know he just selected Max Ahinachor, but he's kind of a guy for the future, and you kind of need a guy for the present who's going to play alongside that offensive line that has been really banged up. You lost kind of one of your replacements in Spencer Burford, so we shall see. Sorry, I'm trying to. I think technical malfunctions, as you can see, he was kind of glitching out for a while. But yeah, I think the thing with this draft board is that you get these top 10 guys and it's really just all over the place because I think some of the picks that we've had in the second round, if not later in the second round, some of these guys have been mocked back half first round, if not middle of the first round in those positions. So he's trying to fix it. But again, guys like Caden Proctor, I'm surprised Emmanuel McNeil Warren was that low. Malachi Lawrence was one. Even guys like Kalen Rutledge, Chase Basantis,
Have you made a
Antonio
decision yet?
Williams.
I mean, I've given you so much
Yeah,
time.
I think Antonio Williams is the guy I'm going to go with. I think he fits partly because of his size. I think Antonio Williams, although undersized, is great, great physical receiver, can play that wide receiver too alongside Mike Evans, while Ricky Pearsall plays in the slot, definitely beefing up that wide receiver core. I was just mentioning too, Keelan Rutledge is another really good spot in this position. I'm surprised he's fallen that far, but nevertheless, we keep it moving. Josh,
Yep.
what do you got for this one?
Yeah, because of internet reasons, we may have to go a little bit faster these last few picks. If my screen will load, which it is trying its best, I'm hitting defense. I think their second biggest need after offensive line is that linebacker core. I think this is where you go and get someone like Jake Galladay.
Yeah,
So
I like that. I like that pick.
to me, pick 59 is with the 59th ranked prospect, Jake Galladay, linebacker from Cincinnati.
I like that a lot. I think that's a fun one. With Chicago now at pick 60, I think another really unsung position of need for them is wide receiver. That's why here I'm going with Tennessee wide receiver Chris Brazel out of Tennessee. I think he brings something that none of the other Chicago receivers do. He is that big time downfield deep threat guy who is tall, lanky, good in contested catches. Beef up that wide receiving core, make Caleb Williams get some weapons after losing DJ Moore, get your replacement in kind of a trade swap.
No, 100%. Um, one thing about Tennessee wide receivers is they can stretch the field, but a lot of questions about their scheme as well as route running. So hopefully, without him having to necessarily be that wide receiver 1 or 2, he can really grow into that position. Pick 61 with the Rams, we went with wide receiver. We went
Jordan Tyson.
Jordan Tyson. That's right. I could see them going with a linebacker, get someone next to Landman over there. I could also see them going with just hitting depth on the offensive line. Their guards are pretty good. Their tackles are both have had some injury concerns in the past. So I could see them potentially going there. I do like Caleb Timmerman from Northwestern, but I do believe, unless we could even potentially see a quarterback here, I do think linebacker, and I think the next top linebacker is Josiah Trotter. I think he kind of fits a little bit of what they like with their linebackers tackling force, as well as a younger brother and a son to some legends in the linebacker spot,
Yes,
Josiah Trotter.
I like that. Yeah, for this one, I
First
wonder
pick
if
for the
this guy's still on the
Broncos.
board. Let's go to defensive tackles real quick.
Uh huh.
Oh, never mind. I
Lee
thought Lee
Hunter.
Hunter was still on the board.
No, Lee
Uh,
Hunter went a little bit earlier.
no, but I am gonna go. I
The
think defensive
Vikings.
tackle's a major need for them at this position. And I'm going to go with Grayson Holton here.
Yeah,
I think I like this one a lot. Really good pass rushing defensive tackle replaces that John Franklin Myers kind of archetype that they really needed. You got some older guys on the interior of that defensive line. Again, keep beefing it up. I think tight end is an interesting one here too, but I think you could wait until probably the third round to acquire one of those guys. Get the best defensive tackle on the board.
100%. Pick 63, the Patriots. We went with a few different spots with them. Um, if I can remind everyone, including myself, with the Patriots,
Even I can't even think of it.
TJ Parker in
Oh
the
yeah,
first round. Um, to be honest with you, I do think this is where Chris Bell stops his um, little drop. I think you can get a guy that has extreme potential. We talked about the size, the speed, after catchability. He doesn't have to
yeah.
necessarily contribute, day one or even year one, but that potential, especially with Booty on an expiring deal, I think Chris Bell can be that long-term answer next to Romeo Dobbs for Drake May.
Final pick in the second round. I do love that pick. I think that'd be really fun for Drake May. If I'm the Seattle Seahawks, I am running up to the podium with this pick. I can't believe he's still on the board. And to close it out, because I've seen this guy go at 32,
Uh,
is Jadarian Price, running back, Notre Dame.
yeah,
Perfect.
no,
Perfect, perfect, perfect.
I love that pick.
Compliment Zach Charbonnet, really physical player. I think this is fantastic. Man, look at that. Take a screenshot of that bad boy for the future. I'm actually going to do that right now.
Yeah,
So we can see
and I'll go
how
ahead and
right.
pick up round two as well. And then one thing I love about this website is they give us a little grade for each teams in every pick.
Well, so let's see what our grades were for
Yep.
this because
Take a
this
picture of
is
round one.
yep. I took a picture round
All right,
one.
here's round two.
Okay. Wow. Well, there's some good guys left on the board.
Yeah.
But I think the Jadarian Price pick shows that, not a lot of teams necessarily need running back as bad.
Yeah. I say we quickly go over these grades and then we can get ourselves out of here.
Not the biggest fans, but I think again,
Mhm.
Dallas is in a very tricky position with draft needs and draft places. I think if they're in that position, they trade back for that. But also, I think they have a really strong chance of trading up.
But yeah, exactly. I do think corner linebackers are their biggest needs, as well as edge rusher. Broncos, one pick, Grayson Halton. B, D tackle, makes sense. Lions, A plus, Monroe Freeling. Gabe Jackus, A minus, build up those trenches. I think this is a perfect Dan Campbell
Yeah,
draft
it's a
class.
perfect Dan Campbell draft class.
Packers, A plus, Chris Johnson.
Yeah,
There you go. Give yourselves a
gotta
little
love
credit
it.
there.
Gotta love it.
Texans had a lot of the trenches. Kaden McDonald, Chase Bionis, Jake Galladay. Pretty good picks.
Pretty good picks. Pretty good picks. Colts.
Colts. AJ Halsey, B minus. A little bit of
Not bad. Not
a
bad.
reach, but not too bad. C minus Anthony Hill.
I don't. I don't. I think that's too low. I think
Yeah,
that's too low in
I
my
think
opinion.
PFF has Anthony Hill a little bit lower than some other teams, especially with his versatility. Chiefs, A plus, A plus, C plus. I mean, defense and secondary, especially. I think that Ruben Bain pick, if he's there at 9, man, that is a dangerous defensive line
Yeah.
over there. Raiders plus A minus, offensive line, pretty self-explanatory. Same thing with the Chargers. Get two starters, one on the secondary, one on the offensive line. Rams, Jordan Tyson, Josiah
Okay.
Trotter.
Okay.
I mean, these aren't necessarily their biggest needs, but this is just luxury picks, 100%.
Right. Yeah.
Dolphins, wait for it to load.
Let's see.
They had a
There's a
lot of
lot of
picks.
picks
A
for them.
minus,
There we go. Yeah.
Makai
Look at that.
Lemon, Blake Miller, Zion Young. 3 of their biggest needs. Vikings, wow, 2 A pluses.
I mean, Lee Hunter at 49 is an unbelievable pick for them if they're able to get him.
TJ Parker, Chris Bell, pretty good as well.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
And then we have the Jets,
The
had a lot of
Saints.
picks.
Or did you pass the Giants and the Saints?
B plus. David Bailey, Vegayane, Denzel Boston, D'Angelo Pons. Jets, we have the Eagles, Akeem Estor, Eli Stowers, A minus. Two fantastic players for them. Steelers, okay, Casey Concepcion and getting Stunker. I think Casey Concepcion is a huge play for 21 as well as that back end of the first round. Niners, two great picks, Antonio Williams, Max Ihenacher. Then we have Seattle, Jadarian Prince, Braden Cisse, two day one start. CJ Allen,
Yeah, I agree.
Mason Thomas hitting especially that defensive line
Yeah.
and linebacker room. Fantastic for the Bucks. Lastly, we have two teams left. Another A plus, Sonny Styles, Emmanuel McNeil Warren hitting that defense. Sonny Styles, I mean, interesting. We didn't go wide receiver for the Titans or potentially even running back, but two day one starters for sure. And lastly, James, the Commanders in it all with arguably the best player in the draft, Jeremiah Love. Woo! That is a lot. But hey, this is what we signed up for. This is
2 hours of mock drafts, baby.
yeah, man.
2
This is it's going to be fun to compare our 2 rounds compared to the first 2 rounds of this year's draft.
Well, I think trades are going to be the biggest shakeup thing here.
Exactly.
But this will be fun. Thank you guys so much for joining in on us. I know we had some technical difficulties. We're running a lot of hardware on our end.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think of the mock drafts. Any hypothetical trades, any picks you like, don't like, sleeper picks, bad picks, picks you hate, picks you love. Let us know what you guys think before draft day next week. And that's when I'll see you next, Josh.
Yeah, I'll see you too, James. For everyone out there, no, get ready for Thursday because we will be streaming. We will find some way to have reactions as soon as the picks happen. So yeah, stay tuned to that. And James, it's been a pleasure. Everyone watch, the socials, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Twitch, all the above. Yeah, until next time.
Until next time, Josh,
See you,
you have a good
James.
one, boss.
Have a good
I'll
week.
see you. You too.